seemed that they would be more defending, but they actually went after them, but ultimately they were able to force them away. That's what we're going to do here today. Yesterday the Federals won. Today the Confederates will push them off and cause them to leave the homestead in the area surrounding. The Sechrest family donated that property. It was moved here. It's a 1.5 story home, very typical of the time period. It's got a working fireplace. It's got some furniture in it. They're of course always looking to improve that structure. Additional structures on the property include a blacksmith shop. That is not a building that was brought here. That building was built on site to facilitate the needs of a blacksmith. And we have one there portraying that image today and making items for people as they walk up, both soldiers and people visiting the site. We have a grain storage barn and a smokehouse where they would, of course, smoke any pork or any other meats that they wanted to. What you also see over here to my left is what we call a sutler. That is a vendor. Sutlers followed the camp around and sold such things as were needed by the common soldier. Could be soap, could be a toothbrush, could be a cigar, could be any number of other vices that a soldier might want to purchase, but also gear that you might want to purchase. The 63rd is a dismounted unit, so they'll have a collection of pistols and maybe some what are called 2-band muskets. We use, though, a 3-band musket.
It's an 1853 Enfield rifle. Okay. They were actually made in England. They were called Tower rifles because they were made at a Tower arsenal in England. A lot of support came from both sides of the Civil War, from England, north and south, and a lot of soldiers use the Enfield, and it's a single shot musket, muzzle loading. Each time you fire, you have to pour a round down the barrel and lodge it with the ramrod, and then you have to put a cap on the cone of the rifle, which sparks and fires the rifle. And a good average private could fire 3 shots in 1 minute.
Also, as an officer, I carry a sword. The sword is mostly ornamental. It is not sharpened at all, and it really is just to direct the troops. Any man of any stature is not going to be able to, the troops are not going to be able to see what he's doing, and probably won't be able to hear his voice. A typical company was 100 men. A regiment was 1,000 men. So there's no way that I can make a command loud enough to be heard by all men. However, they can see this. When I raise the sword and I tilt it this way or this way, they know right or left. I think the number one thing that we'd like you to know is that we're here to educate the public.
As General Lee overlooked from behind the sunken road, the wall, and he looked down on that battlefield, he turned to General Longstreet and he said, "Sir, it is good that war is so terrible, least we shall grow so fond of it." You have a president sitting there in Washington City that does away with habeas corpus, gives free rein to the military to arrest and incarcerate anybody they deem necessary. Just because of politics? That is wrong, sir.
Does seem wrong, does it not?
But yet,
there I stand.
There you stand.
Perhaps I'm on the wrong side. Perhaps you've convinced me to change my ways.
Captain, if that doesn't convince you to change your ways, come this afternoon, you got 2 choices. Either leave the field of battle honorably as a gentleman, or you will be carried off on a stretcher, and we will dig a nice hole in the ground and plant you in it.
One of the things we like to do is not just a battle. We like to try to give the public, because there are people that come to the event that are interested in a little bit more. So yes, we have a women's fashion show scheduled both yesterday and today. We also have a children toy and other games program, because for us, we're trying to understand the entire time period of all the people that struggled. It wasn't just the men that struggled during this time period. It was the women and children that struggled as well. And that's North and South. The casualties in this war were very high. Everybody felt the loss, especially in the South. But for women, they had to take care of farms. They had to take care of homesteads. And so we want to try to understand all of that experience and try to present at least that keyhole version of what we can to the public. My goal is to create an event here in Waxhaw, North Carolina, that occurs every year for the purpose of having another event in this area. There's not been a major event in this area for a very long time.
Tar Heels! Tar Heels! Tar Heels!
Predator Tools, the highest quality digging tool hand-built by George Leshy. Each tool is created from aircraft-grade steel and is heat-treated and tempered, making it the highest quality available. Predator tools are designed for the serious treasure hunters, landscapers, and gardeners who want to dig fast and easy. Don't settle for the cheap imitations that can bend and break. Demand the best. Demand Predator tools. You can call us at 1-856-455-3790, or you can visit us on the web at predatortools.com.
Today I'm going to talk about the archival preservation of paper documents. Let's say you have a family member who happens to have a collection of primary source materials that are maybe maps, maybe sheet music, maybe diaries from the 1800s or early 1900s. So you get your document. How do you preserve it? Especially when it's in a condition like this. It's flaking, it's brown, it's torn, it's smelly. Let's first talk about how you know whether or not it needs preserving. Well, look at it. It's probably going to be off-white, like a tan color. You'll see that the pages are frayed on the outside edge. Or in the case of this book, you can see on these outermost edges that the page is brown instead of the color of the rest of the sheet. This is what we call acidification in paper. We have a few options. I'm going to talk about two today. This is what we call mylar. It's one of a handful of archivally safe polyplastics. Your best bet is to get what we call a mylar envelope. This one is a two-sided, meaning that it's sealed on two sides. You can also get it three-sided, so it's sealed here, here, and here, and you slide your documents in from the top. We prefer the two-sided just because, you know, it's easier to get out more fragile documents, get them in and out without tearing them or hurting them in any other way. Our second option would be to go with archival folders. This type is an accordion style, meaning that you can put a lot of documents in here and it should expand. And here's a more medium style, medium size folder. So we could take this and it fits in there perfectly. And there's actually room on all the edges so that it's not going to stick out of the folder and scrape up against something there. Now if you had a map, they make them this big, and you can actually custom order these into the size that you want. Archival folders are definitely an option. They're much, much more cheaper than the mylar. So, you know, it's something easy that you can do. You can even write on them in pencil and it won't damage the archival quality of the paper. That way you'll know what's in it and you won't have to keep opening and opening and opening and damaging and exposing your document. Let's say we were given a Civil War soldier's diary. My recommendation to you would be to folder it in an archival folder. You always want to put the spine facing down and then box it so that it stands upright. There you go. It's archivally safe. These boxes are not, again, not your standard Walmart boxes. These are archivally safe. They're made out of similar materials. They're tested to be pH neutral, which means it's going to protect your documents. The other option we have would be to use a flat box. You can use the same sort of folders, lay it in there flat, and you're set. I hope you all have learned a lot about the preservation of paper products today. If you have any questions, feel free to look me up on the researchandrecoveryshow.com website. I'll be in the forums. Thanks again and tune in next time.